For the second year in a row, Alex Palou is your winner at Barber Motorsports Park here in Leeds, Alabama. For IndyCar TV, I'm Zion Brown, and Palou won this race by just a little bit over 13 seconds, winning it for the third time in his career. Actually got his first career win back in 2021 here, and he won it again here today for the second year in a row. And one of the main storylines of this race is it was surprisingly a race that was ruled overwhelmingly by the primary tire strategy rather than those red alternates, which we've seen kind of be the deciding factor in races in the first two street races of the year. Of course, this being the first road race of the IndyCar season. And things went a little differently. When talking to teams and drivers today, it basically sounded like when they got to the track this morning and had their warm-up session, that for whatever reason, even Alex Palou couldn't really pinpoint exactly why it was, but the primary tires were running a lot better than those alternate red tires. And so that's what we saw a lot of people start on, or that's what we saw a lot of people run most of their laps on, even if they didn't actually start on those black tires. That was a surprise. Like I said, the first two street races there's a lot of talk about the red tires. Even coming into today, I think a lot of people thought it would be a red race. That's the way it was referred to as far as the tire strategy goes, but that was not the case. It was all about the blacks today. And Alex Palou, after winning the pole yesterday, was able to get the win. And it's a 13-second win. Not quite what he did last year, winning by, I believe, over 16 seconds in that race. And the 13 seconds doesn't really describe and explain how close Christian Lundgaard was throughout the entirety of the day. Lundgaard starting in 10th in that Aero McLaren number 7 Chevrolet. He was actually leading Alex Palou. He had to pit, however, during his last pit stop on lap 69. He was leading Alex Palou. Palou was behind Mick Schumacher and Dennis Hauger, and just having to navigate traffic. He pitted, I believe, on lap 65, so he pitted earlier, and just coming out of that pit, he had to navigate traffic near the bottom of that lead lap. And so that allowed Lundgaard to kind of open up a wider lead against Alex Palou. Lundgaard going in for his last pit stop, there was an issue with his right rear tire, and that derailed the race for Christian Lundgaard as far as giving him a chance to win. I mean, he really would have had a chance to win. He would have been right up there with Alex Palou had that not happened, but instead, that pit stop took him nearly 18 seconds. He couldn't recover from that at the end of the day. When you're racing against Alex Palou, the four-time champion, somebody who we all know has a great car in that Chip Ganassi number 10 car. That's the type of mistake that could not have been made in that situation. And then Alex Palou was able to get back toward that front, pass Graham Rahal, who finished P3, and pass and win over Christian Lundgaard, who was P2. So that was your podium, going Palou, Lundgaard, then Rahal. It was still an impressive effort, at least I thought, by Lundgaard to pass Graham Rahal. It looked like Rahal was going to get that second position, but right near the end of the race, he was able to pass Rahal and finish in second. But that is your podium. Another interesting thing, there were no cautions, no accidents at all in this race. All 25 cars on the grid got through the entirety of the race. Nobody had to, like I said, no cautions. Nobody had to stop the race at all. A very clean race. And now, in many ways, you look at it and say, it was a race that, if you look outside of Christian Lundgaard, not quite a lot of passing happened in this race. It was a very straightforward race as far as the passing went, especially at the top of the field, right? We saw some drivers who started near the bottom of the grid. Will Power, for example, I believe finishing 12th after starting all the way back in 23rd, following his incident and his crash when his brakes failed yesterday. So you saw that, but necessarily you didn't see that passing toward the top of the grid, unless you're talking about Christian Lundgaard, who was able to get, like I said, all the way from 10th to 2nd. Something that not a lot of people may notice or be pointing out after this race is the fact that Kyle Kirkwood finishing P5, not the win like he got in Arlington, but it's his best finish ever here at Barber. And as a result of that, Kyle Kirkwood is still your championship points leader. Even though Alex Palou has won 2 races now, Kirkwood has been top 5 in every race. Palou, of course, had that 25th finish back in Phoenix when he had the contact and had the crash with Rinus VeeKay. So Palou, despite having 2 first-place finishes and a second-place finish through 4 races, still 2 points behind. Not a large gap by any means, but he is still 2 points behind Kyle Kirkwood for the championship. So Kirkwood, it was important for him. I don't think a lot of people came into this weekend expecting him to win again just because of the issues and the way he hadn't been able to effectively drive and race here at Barber in the past. But for him to finally get up into the top 5 here at Barber, he had never finished higher than 10th before. For him to finally get in the top 5 at Barber and hold on to that points lead shows the level of growth that you want to see from Kirkwood and that Andretti Global team. Talked about it a little bit on Friday just how much willpower coming over to that Andretti team is looking to impact the weaknesses and really help them in the spots that they've been weaker in the past. And this is a spot specifically here at Barber, but road courses in general, where Andretti Global hasn't always been great, specifically with Kyle Kirkwood. That changed today. That changed this weekend. Kyle Kirkwood being able to finish that top 5, holding on to the championship lead, a big deal for him, who's trying to, just stay consistent and really fight Alex Palou for that championship. For him to not have an upsetting day, a day outside of the top 10, a day even outside of the top 5, was big for Kyle Kirkwood. Also making a jump up is Christian Lundgaard. He's now up to 3rd in that championship race, but he's still looking for his first win with Arrow McLaren now in his 3rd season with the team. Lundgaard has had so many close calls, so many podium finishes, where he just hasn't been able to get that win with Arrow McLaren. Of course, he got his lone win a few years back with Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan, his first and only win of his career to this point, but he's still looking to win for the first time in that Arrow McLaren number 7 car. Couldn't get it done today, and for Lundgaard, it feels like a deja vu. He said it in St. Pete, every time I'm on the podium, Alex Palou is right there and right there ahead of me. He's now finished on the podium, Lundgaard, that it is 9 times in his 3 seasons with Arrow McLaren. Alex Palou has been ahead of him in 8 of those races. It is astounding that every time, like he said, Lundgaard is 2nd or 3rd, Alex Palou finds a way to be ahead of him. Just once, I believe it was last year in Portland, Lundgaard was 2nd, Palou was 3rd. That's the only time he's finished ahead of Palou in one of these podium finishes. But so that's your top 3 right now. It's Kirkwood, it's Palou, it's Lundgaard. But overall, a clean race. Not a lot of passing here in Barber this weekend, but a race where we saw Alex Palou once again dominate, even though it's not what the race looked like for most of the race, but those last 20 laps or so after the pit stop error of that Arrow McLaren team really changed everything and forced Lundgaard to finish well behind Alex Palou. So Palou gets the win, 2nd of the year, 2nd in a row in Barber, 3rd overall at Barber Motorsports Park. I'm Zion Brown. You can follow along my written coverage, of course, at IndyStar.com/sports/motor-sports. But for now, I'm Zion Brown for IndyStar TV.